Good afternoon, guys. Welcome into my channel. So in this demo, we're gonna configure together and implement multi-area for OSPF version 2. So there go the lab topology, and is the addressing table here. So we have all the routers, devices, interfaces, and the IPv4 addresses. So there go the objective of this lab. So it says part one, we have to build a network and configure basic device settings and interface addressing. Part two, we're going to configure and verify multi-area OSPF for IP version 4, router 1, and D1 and D2. In part three, we're going to exploring next state announcement. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up packet tracer. Okay, so there go the lab topology. So let's go ahead. Now, by the way, so in this activity, we will configure multi-area OSPF version 2. So the network is already connected and interface are configured with IPv4 addressing. So my job is to enable multi-area OSPF version 2. And we're gonna verify connectivity and examine the operation of multi-area OSPF version 2. So, okay, let's go ahead and stop pull up router 1. Of T. Go ahead and say router SPF1. Then we get router. Okay. So step two, we're going to advertise each directly connected network in OSPF version 2 and router 1. So we're going to configure each network in OSPF version 2, assigning area according to the addressing table. So in router 1, here's what we will do. And that's the IP address will be provided on the addressing table, okay? So these are the addressing table. So it's 192.168.10.0. So again, guys, I pick up those addresses in the addressing table for router 1. So Just so you know, that's where we get those addresses from, okay? Here we are. So, okay. So on step 3, we're going to configure OSPF version 2 on router 2 and router 3. So we're gonna repeat the same process on each of those routers. Go ahead. So router OSPF1, then we could do router ID, such as router 2. So we could do network. Okay. It's gonna be 192.168.10. Ah, let's check this out, see what's the mistake. So 192.168.10. So okay, we're gonna just up arrow and change this. Okay, so that's basically all that we have to do to configure SPF on router 2. Now let's go on router 3. We're gonna repeat the same process. Network. a mistake. So let's change this to area 2 instead. Okay, so we're gonna just change this to 10. Oh, okay, so we're done with this part now. So now we could verify and examine the multi-area on OSPF version 2. So to verify the connectivity to each of the OSPF version 2. So from wire 1, let's go ahead and ping. And told that 168.1.2. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, so the ping was successful, so you could tell. Now let's go ahead and um and ping. Okay, so this ping is successful. So if we're to ping, so guys, just so you know, what we're doing is we ping those from here. We ping this IP address and that IP address and this to making sure that um, we have configured multi-area OSPF on those routers. So 10.2.1.2. So it's 10.2.1.2. Okay, so guys, now what we're gonna do is after we have proved that all the OSPF um, multi-area being configured, so we're gonna use the show command to examine the current OSPF version operation. So let's go ahead and do show IP. So you see here, so here we go, we have everything. So show IP route. Now we're gonna use the command show IP route gateway last result set. Show IP OSPF database. So NAC ID. So here's all the OSPF guys. You could tell that everything is being configured. No issue. Let's go ahead and do show IP OSPF interface. And I'll just okay. So now the last OSPF neighbor. So there go the neighbor. The neighbor ID is. Okay. So the reflection question that you may have is that which route or internal route? So the internal route, guys, is routed 2. Keep that in mind. So this is very important if you were to ask any questions from an interview. And the other question is like which route or the backbone router? So the backbone router is router 1, router 2, and router 3. So all backbone routers. So in like the third question is like which router or area border routers. So the area border router is router 1 and 3. These two routers or router or area border routers. The other question is which routers are autonomous system routers. So all active interface on all 3 routers connected to an OSPF area. So the other question is like which router are generating type 1 LSAs. So all OSPF router guys, all OSPF routers generate type 1 LSA. The other question is again, which routers are generating type 2 LSAs? So 18 routers in each of the areas that are DR or routers ID. The other question again is like which routers are generating type 3 LSA? So router 1 and router 3, because each is on abbreviated needs to flood area information from one area to the other. The other question again is which routers are generated type 4 and 5 LSAs? None, because there is not an ASBR in the network. My other question again is how many inter-area routes does each routers have? Router 1 and router 3 have 2 IA and R, and router 2 has 4 IAs. Why would there usually be an ASRB in this type of network? ASRB is used to connect the external routing domain, guys. Basically, that's all for this lab. I appreciate you guys were following along with me. Stay tuned for another router. For another demo for CCNP and Encor lab, okay? Again, this lab, you learn how to configure, implement multi-area on OSPF version 2.